Good afternoon. As, uh, as Dr. Fernandez mentioned, I taught for LA Unified for 25 years, almost 25 years. It was actually 24.8 years. UTLA has been cooperating with LA Unified in getting rid of its own members. That's the major point I want to make. It is not just LA Unified. I cannot blame them. UTLA has known about this for quite a while, and they actually have put in place programs, a teacher jail, which they cooperate with tacitly in order to get rid of teachers. My estimation is that about 5,000 older teachers, experienced teachers, have been forced out and told to speak up.
No, much more than 5,000.
Yes, 5,000 is a conservative estimate. It is a conservative estimate, and it includes those teachers, the older teachers who have been targeted and abused at schools, and just say, I'm giving up and I'll retire early, even if I don't reach my goal retirement age. I can't fight alone. Teachers are left to fight alone. The program, the Teacher Jail Program, began quite a while ago, and it was copied in different places around the state. I've talked to other teachers who've been through a very similar situation. Now, in terms of UTLA, the year 2012 was when it really got going, and when I was housed at the regional office, the regional headquarters, there were about 50 teachers housed with me. Now that number stayed constant, so whenever someone left, someone else came in. All were teachers. No administrators are involved in losing their jobs. There are certain commonalities. UTLA will say, well, every case is different, but that is not true. Among what they use to build a case against us is incompetence. They employ us for more than 20, well, let's figure it out. I was employed for about 20 years, and then they began to target me. Over those 20 years, I was an acceptable employee. Maybe I wasn't setting the education world on fire, but that's not something I chose to do. And so what? I had a permanent contract, and the abuse started. I was given directives that contradicted each other and went against state law in many cases. Yet UTLA had no answer other than, well, you got to do what they tell you to. Wondering how it got to this point, you can see a pattern. LA Unified took on extra lawyers in their legal department. They have many more now working than they did when I began in the mid-'80s. They built up to that, and someone did leak a PowerPoint presentation that showed they would increase the number of grievances and decrease the number of grievances that are dealt with. Well, this resulted in UTLA having 3,000 grievances that are not pursued. I myself have 8 because I received 1 every single year. And under the rules, a grievance is filed, and the reason for the issuance of the below standard is supposed to be examined closely. It was never done. Never done, so nothing that happened to me was ever examined by UTLA, and I was never represented by UTLA. Now you're probably wondering, well, how could you do something like that, Michael? How could you allow them to do that to you? When I began teaching, it was in 1985, and in 1989, we went on strike under the leadership of Wayne Johnson. Leading up to that strike, we did many things to get the public, to inform the public, the parents, what our issues were. And we had the support of those people, we had the support of the parents then. And the result of that strike was really monumental. We had school-based management in which teachers had a say in how the schools were run. We got, as Dr. Fernandez mentioned, 24% wage increase over 3 years, and other things that are important. But that was the end of it. That's the point at which UTLA stopped being an actual union. At that point, such institutions like TURN, the Teachers United Reform Network, Teachers United Reform Network, to reform public education began, and that was pushing privatization. Charter schools. When charter schools were first mentioned by the leadership of NEA, it was this lovely idea of a school that was run by teachers, that where teachers would control what happens in the schools. A labor union cannot be so trusting of the bosses to think that any idea wouldn't be turned against the employees. But UTLA, NEA, AFT, CTA, and CFT all looked the other way. At that point, the charters began to take off, and over the last 25 years, they've produced nothing in the way of innovation. And we're here today wondering, organizing in order to oppose them. But they would not have reached this point without the assistance of the teachers' unions, especially UTLA. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt, but
No.
before- No, it's important. It's
No,
very,
we're
very
gonna have
important.
discussion, we're gonna have discussion.
I just
No,
want to
no,
say
we're gonna
one
have
thing.
discussion. Lenny, we're gonna have discussion.
UTLA's stated position is that once LAUSD fires you, you are no longer a member of the union.
That's
That
right.
is without
That's
due
correct.
process of law.
That's right.
John Deasy, backed by Eli Grode, put in Caputo Pearl and the 7 officers of the union that have turned a blind eye to this.